What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to be doing a breakdown on the IBF at Tanner's Creek. Tanner's Creek was the fifth stop of the IBF trail, and I was in the top 10 in the points. So we're looking for another decent tournament, hopefully move me up in the points and head into that last tournament still comfortably in the top 10 and maybe put myself in position to win the whole thing. But Blake's got a really good lead. So practice for me was really tough. I fished the main river a little bit. Actually, I fished the main river a lot more than I normally do, and I never really got on anything. When I got into a creek, I was able to get some bites. It seemed like those fish were in the front halves of the creek. I kind of expected them to be further back in the creek. Since it was the middle of summer, I kind of expected them to be further back in those creeks. And I guess it was just because the bait fish was towards the front, and that's why those fish were towards the front as well. So, like I said, the fish on the main river weren't really biting very good at all. I had maybe a couple of bites here and there. Just fishing like wood or stumps or laydowns, like any of those log jams, as well as like barge tie-ups, rocky areas, things like that. Pretty much any current breaks on the main river. I had a few bites on, but it was not that great, and I didn't have a whole lot of confidence in it. So I decided to concentrate my efforts in the creeks in the tournament. So actually ended up Blake and I had practiced each in a few creeks and picked out two creeks that we had some confidence in, and I let Blake pick whichever one he wanted to since he was leading the points. He picked the creek that was further away, so I just went into the one creek and just went fishing, and I fished a lot of wood and stuff in some shallower areas. I was really surprised at how shallow those fish got. Even when the water was like 90 degrees, those fish would be in 6 inches of water, which to me was crazy. But my co-angler ended up having a limit, and I ended up having 4, but we were basically just flipping. I had a few bites, like on a spinnerbait or a buzzbait, but none of them ended up being keepers. All my bites were flipping, and I would basically just target those bigger pieces of wood that were in those shallower areas towards the mouth of the creeks where there was bait fish and stuff like that. So the areas I targeted, like I said, I would just flip, and I was flipping a Texas rig speed crawl, just a zoom speed crawl, pretty much standard for the Ohio River, green pumpkin with chartreuse dipped claws, and I would peg that with a 1/4 ounce TMO tungsten tackle sinker. And I would, like I said, I put a little bobber stop in front of that, and I would throw that on a 3/0 Gamakatsu heavy cover flipping hook. So, like I said, a 1/4 ounce TMO tungsten, a 3/0 Gamakatsu heavy cover flipping hook, and a green pumpkin zoom ultra vibe speed crawl. And those things just got a ton of action, and it's really a really good bait on the Ohio River. Probably shouldn't be talking about that because everybody will start throwing them, but it is what it is. Everybody already throws them, so it's just one of those baits that I have confidence in the Ohio River. So my co-angler actually at one point was flipping black and blue, and it kind of messed with my head a little bit because he was catching them right behind me. So I don't know if the water had got a little murkier with boat traffic and stuff, that those fish wanted that darker color. But I caught all mine on green pumpkin. He caught, I think, 3 of them on black and blue, and then the rest were on green pumpkin. So like I said, just kind of concentrated on those areas that had bait fish, that I felt like those fish were setting up on that wood, especially when the sun came up. Those fish were able to get a little tighter to cover, and I was able to really pinpoint those fish. It was honestly, it was an extremely tough day. I was getting bites like every 2 to 3 hours, and it was just really slow. It was hard to stay focused, and every time you thought that you were doing something wrong, you'd get a bite. And I was catching decent fish. I had 3 good ones and one that was like 12 and a half inches. So ended up finishing 13th place in the tournament. I think I had 6.5 pounds, and honestly, I thought that was pretty good. I was happy with that. Usually the river tournaments are where I kind of just try to salvage a decent finish, not usually do anything crazy, but try to stay consistent as I can on the river and stay up there in the points. But I was pretty happy with the finish. Finished 13th. I think I'm in 6th place in the points going into the last one. Probably out of opportunity to win Angler of the Year, but still got a chance to finish in the top 10, and hopefully we can move up into the top 5, maybe even the top 3, and finish the year out strong. The last one's at Lake Monroe. It's the end of September, so I think it's September 28th. We actually have a state finals at Lake Monroe the day before, so not sure if I'm going to be able to practice for that one, depending on the state finals rules, but I'll be there fishing the state finals the Saturday, and then we'll have the IBF the next day. So the fishing pressure could be a little tough in that IBF, but it's going to be tough on everybody, so we're just going to go fishing and see what we can do. But I appreciate you guys watching. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.